Hi everyone, this is Becca from Becca's Music Room. I'm a music teacher who talks about teacher tips, teacher life, teacherpreneurs, and all things that might hopefully make your life just a little bit easier. Today I'm here to let you know all of the things, well not all the things, some of the things that I am changing in my classroom this year, going into my third year of teaching, just to make engagement better and all sorts of things. If you're interested in knowing why I've done all these things, you can check out my third year of teaching goals. That's pretty much how I have decided all of these things that I'm going to include today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and let me know down below what you are changing in your classroom this year, no matter what year it is. All right, so jumping right into it, things I'm changing in my classroom. So again, I made a list of my goals for my third year of teaching, and each of these things are to help those goals come to fruition, and hopefully it will work out. All right, so number one, I have a new classroom management system. So in the past, I used the strike system. I have a whole video about that, which I will link for you down below. If I remember, if I don't, please leave me a comment and let me know. And so basically, the students got 3 chances before they were out. So they got 2 warnings. Third time, they would have to sit out for a little while. Fourth time was a writing assignment. 5th time, and I would call their parents and they would have lunch detention. So all throughout class, as we were having issues, I would say, so-and-so, strike 1, we're not talking. So-and-so, strike 2, we're not doing whatever. And that worked pretty well because the students knew where they stood with me. It's not like, oh, remember, oh, don't forget, oh, say it the right way. Instead, I could just, you got 2 warnings, and then there was a consequence. Now, a few things I didn't like about this was that I felt like there were a lot of warnings. Like just 5 steps just seems like quite a bit. Every year I feel like I give less and less chances for messing up. I always forgive and allow students to earn their way back, but my first year was lots of times. Last year I had 5. Now I'm down to basically 3, kind of 2. But pretty much 3. So what I'm doing this year instead is I'm doing a card system. I will do a whole video separately about this, but basically I have yellow cards, which means that you are doing something you should not. It's basically a timeout, except I am no longer sending students to the back unless I specifically say for them to, because in the past I had issues. I would, send them to timeout in the back, and then they would, they're far enough removed from where I am that they think it's okay to like roll over the floor or crawl around or touch all the instruments or rip things off the walls. So this year we're only doing that if I specifically tell them to move to the back, and usually it's only if we're doing an activity where we're out of our seats and I just need them away from the activity. But for the most part, I'm just leaving them at their seats. That yellow card means they cannot do instruments or games or anything like that until they've earned it off. And I tell them, as soon as I see you sitting nicely for an extended period of time, then you will be able to earn your way off. And I tell them the yellow card means you need to fix something, and then you can come back. Now, if they continue, the older students actually have an extra chance than the younger students do. So with 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, I have like a writing assignment that I have them do if they continue to be a problem. And it's just like a think sheet. It says, what am I doing? What rule is that breaking? Why is that a problem? What could I do instead? And they fill that out. As soon as they fill it out, they get to come back, which I like that because it has like a time limit associated with it, which is very nice. The younger kids don't have that, but I usually give them 1 extra little warning, so it kind of evens out. If they are still continuing after they get a yellow card to do whatever it is that they are doing, then they get a red card. And a red card is a lunch detention and a parent phone call, and you gotta sit out the rest of class. So lunch detention, I have kids come sit in my room and they fill out that think sheet while all their friends are at lunch, and they do eat, of course, because I can't not eat, but they eat in my room instead of being with their friends and talking and all that kind of stuff. So that's fairly effective. I like it because a lot of my students don't have transportation to stay for after school detention, and I've run into that issue many, many times. Now, I see my students for a whole week at a time, and so if they do get 2 red cards in a week, so like if Monday they get a red card, Tuesday they get a red card, then it would be after school detention because now it's getting worse. This system I'm liking for the most part. It has seemed to cut down on a few things, and I like the cards because it gives a visual reminder of, oh, this is what I need to do. And so having that visual reminder as opposed to just me saying 1, 2, 3 made a huge difference because it's like physical, tactile. They can feel it, like, oh, I can't participate because I have a yellow card. I need to do the right thing so that I can come back and join us. They also kind of serve as a stress reliever, and so the kids sometimes will crumple them up or play with them, but I'm kind of okay with that because it's similar to, you know, fidget spinner or something, and it helps them calm down. If they're calming down, then I am all good about it. A few problems I have run into are kids just refusing to get the cards, in which case I solve that by handing it to them. Secondly is students throwing them or like sticking them under the carpet. And so I've started telling them, if I ask you to get a yellow card, you have a yellow card whether you have it or not. But you can't put your yellow card away if you don't have it. So you have to have it in order to put it away. And so that has solved a lot of the issues with that. And yeah, it's been working pretty good so far. It's only the first month of school, so you know, we shall see how it goes later on this year, but so far so good. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer and then I'll do a whole video just to make sure I get any kinks out that I need to. Side note, the teacher I got this from also did a green card, which was like a reward, and she had a reward at the end of class for students who got green cards. I do not do that because my whole school uses Dojo, so instead of having a green card, I just give a Dojo point, and it solves the same purpose. Also with 5th grade, I'm still doing the envelope system raffle at the end of the week. You can check that out. I have a whole video about it all by itself. All right, second thing that I am incorporating into my music room this year is more pop music. Now I don't mean just pop music, but just like popular music. So I've been incorporating a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of rap, which is so not my wheelhouse at all, but I'm trying, and a little bit of pop. It's not taking over my curriculum, but you know, here's one song here, one activity here, and it's been really helpful. The reason I'm doing this is because I've been reading a lot about culturally responsive teaching and realizing how deep the hip hop culture is and how my students have grown up in the hip hop culture, and I really hate when they think like we have music in school and then music outside of school. So I'm trying to kind of bridge that gap and show them like music is music. Everyone can do all kinds of music. It doesn't matter what it is. So we've done a few activities with Little Kids Rock, which is a program we're starting this year, which is lots of pop-based stuff. We're going to play guitars. I just got my guitars, so we haven't started yet, and ukuleles, and we've already started with playing chords on the keyboards along with a couple of different songs, and so we're heading in that direction. And again, that's not all I do. I still do folk music, I still do classical and all that kind of stuff, but I'm trying to incorporate more of the students' culture so that they understand that, first of all, that's okay. Oh my goodness, y'all, the other day, one of the kids, the students who had not gotten picked up for call riders yet came up to the front, which is where I stand during bus duty, and one of them was rapping, and their brother or sister, I don't remember who it was like, Miss Davis, they're rapping. You can't rap in school. And I was like, what? And I told her, I was like, sweetie, like rap is music. Like you're fine rapping as long as it's appropriate words. Rap is fine. And so that is something that really concerns me because I don't want the students to feel like, you know, this is me at home, this is me at school. I want them to like know that that's okay. So we're working on that. I'm not super knowledgeable about it yet, but I'm working on it. I went to a training this morning about hip hop, and I'm like diving into Little Kids Rock and just all these things to incorporate a little bit of that, and that also helps up the engagement and get students playing music that they know and like very, very easily. If you have not checked out Little Kids Rock yet, do it. It has so many lessons where kids can play guitars or pianos or ukuleles or use their voices to like incorporate lots of pop songs, and then it also teaches all of the fundamentals of music along with that. So super, super cool. I'll leave a link to that down below because it's really worth a deep dive if you have not done it before. Number 3 is writing. Now this one was actually imposed on me this year, but we'll say this one was actually imposed on me this year, but whatever. So my school is doing, I guess, a version of writing across the curriculum. They're not calling it that, but that's what it is. And they're requiring all of the specials teachers to incorporate writing into our lessons. So every week I give a little bit of time to writing and talking about the writing process and stuff like that. Everything is related to music, and so if you have checked out my TBT shop lately, you might have noticed, like, I just posted a whole thing of emergency subplans that are literally all writing prompts, and they're tiered, so it's like the same prompt, but there's like 2 or 3 different versions, well, 3 or 4 different versions. So there's one that's just like the prompt and then lines and a graphic organizer, and then there's ones that are like fill in the blank for like kindergarten and first grade, and lots of things like that are coming into my TBT shop because I'm incorporating a lot more writing into my curriculum. So I'm looking for any way that we can do that. If you have suggestions, leave them down below. So far we've done activities like listening to The Entertainer, we did that the other day, from Scott Joplin, and writing about what it made us think of and drawing a picture along with it. We did a writing activity with the rules. We are this week doing some writing activities with things that we know about Hispanic music, and just anything that I can get the kids writing that is related to my content is what I'm looking at. So any suggestions, leave them down below. I would really appreciate. Number 4 is pacing. I'm trying to pace my lessons much quicker, so like pacing throughout the actual lesson. So I'm putting a lot more activities into my lessons and trying to get through things quickly and just keep the pace rolling really, really fast. Partially because I just feel like I get to the end of the week and I'm like, we hardly did anything, you know, because some things just take a lot longer than I anticipate. And so I'm really trying to push the pacing to up the engagement and also get through a lot more content. So we're doing smaller chunks of time, but still, you know, plenty of time on the concept. So especially with like first grade, each of our activities, you know, are like 2 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 2 minutes here, and stuff like that. And with the older kids is really where I struggle, because that's the time where I tend to have longer activities. And so I'm really trying with them to get through a lot of things. Part of the problem is just that I feel like I am worried about running out of time, and so I'll skip things because I'm like, oh, we don't have time for that. So these past couple weeks I've been challenging myself to do every single thing, even if I think we don't have time. And a lot of things I am surprised by how little time they actually take. I'm like, oh, we don't have time for that. And then I try and I'm like, oh, that took like a minute. I'm like, okay, so I would encourage you to try that too. Just like push your pacing a little bit further, like do one activity more than you planned and just look for any gaps and try to fill them up. Now, this has backfired a few times because if teachers are late bringing their students, you know, if they're 10 minutes late, that's now like 2 activities that we missed out on. So that's been an issue that I'm still looking for how to fix. I don't really know how to fix it, but if you have a suggestion, leave it down below. All right, the last thing that I am incorporating this year, you know, number 5, that's a lot of stuff to focus on, I'm aware, is incorporating more books into my lessons. So I guess literacy could have encompassed both the writing and the books, but I just wanted it to be 2 separate things. I've always wanted to do lots of books in my classroom, but I just never quite knew like how to actually do them. So people are like, oh yeah, I used this book, and I'm like, but like, what did you do? I don't know, what did you actually do to make this happen? So I've been really looking for any way that I can incorporate books. Now the easiest way, of course, is a theme. So for example, this week we sang the song Bluebird, and then we read a book that was about birds. Easy peasy. But I'm looking for more musical ways, so like playing instruments along with books. So we also this week did a whole lesson with Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, which I will I should have up before this goes up, so I will link it down below so you can check that out because it's really fun. There's also a TPT product that goes along with it, and just lots of different things. So throughout the next few months, you will probably see a lot of book related content. I'm actually gonna film one today, like right now, and just talking about different ways that we can teach melody and dynamics and rhythm and all those things that are actually music related through books. Now, that's not to say that like you can't just read books to read books, because you can, but I'm trying to really make them holistic and fit in really, really well. So that's one thing I'm really excited about this year. I have bought and purchased many books over the last couple of months. I've done a lot of research, but again, I feel like I tend to see mostly just like, oh yeah, I use this book in my class. And I'm like, but how? So if you're wondering the but how, then stay tuned, because I'm going to have many videos about that coming out soon, because I was stumped. I still feel stumped some days, so I'm trying to get better. So I'm trying to get better, so hang on, and I will have some content for you about that very, very soon. All right, so those are the top 5 things I am working on in my classroom this year. I know 5 is kind of a lot, but I'm taking it just one step at a time. So I look at my lesson plan and I say, okay, where's one day that we can incorporate writing? Where's one day that we can incorporate a book? And I have my students for a whole week, so that works pretty well for me. So it might be a little harder for you. You could look, at your whole month and say, okay, I want a book one day and I want a writing activity one day. You might have totally different things than me. You probably do have totally different things than me. So I'm very curious. Let me know down in the comments what you are focusing on this year, any goals that you have, anything that you want to learn more about that maybe you want to see some videos about, whether that is books, writing, something completely unrelated. I'm really good at centers. That's kind of my jam. So any questions, leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and have a wonderful week.